Today we're going to review the Case 650H wide track dozer made by Ertl in 1/50th scale. This was a requested review. I have another one that's stock with stock rubber band tracks, but it is mint in box and I am going to keep it that way for now. But I do have one of the rubber band tracks that I can show you that came on this dozer. They're nothing special, obviously, and yeah, they're not very nice. But anyway, that's what came on the dozer. You guys saw before I did the how-to on this, removing track links and putting them back together. Again, for those interested and those who may have missed it, A, you can go find it on the YouTube channel, and B, the tracks came off of an International Harvester TD15 dozer made by First Gear in 1/50th scale. And I know it's an expensive model to chop up, but I like this Case dozer, and eventually I'm going to get around to painting these tracks. Before I review the model, one quick thing that may interest some of you. I'm going to slide back a little bit here. This right here is a 1/64th scale compactor wheel made by Ertl, and it comes with some farm tractors. Pretty nice little piece. The frame is die cast, the wheels are plastic. But just in case any of you would like to know, this attachment fits perfectly on this dozer. You can see the hitch there, it fits perfectly, and it looks great with it. So I just thought I'd point that out real quick. The undercarriage on this dozer is nothing special. A bunch of plastic. You know, the idler is plastic. The sprocket, which is hard to call a sprocket because the teeth are supposed to come to a point and not have flats on them, is plastic. You can see, I'm going to try to zoom in just a little bit more. There's some bolt head detail on the sprocket, but very, very hard to see unless you're looking straight at it. Again, plastic. They did a pretty nice job on the rail on the undercarriage there. That's metal. The roller is non-functioning. It is metal. The tracks, obviously being custom, are the best, in my opinion, the best part of this undercarriage. These tracks do fit kind of loosely. I'm going to zoom out and kind of show you. It doesn't totally always grab the sprocket. Sometimes, well, here it is, but sometimes it'll kind of slip. They are loose. You can see the little bit of track sag, which is normal. They kind of roll, but they're easy to bind up. The First Gear tracks really aren't meant for this, obviously. They weren't made for it. But if you keep the tracks inside of the rail there, it rolls pretty nicely. Kind of. But anyway, that's not really part of the model, but I just thought I'd throw it in there. Their graphics were nice for the time. I'm going to see if I can do a little better with the zoom there. There we go, that's a little better. The case graphic is actually a decal that when I go around the back you'll see is kind of coming off. The little wide track words there, those are pad printed, and so is the 650H here. Those are pretty nice. This is actually, even though it's older and there's a lot of plastic on it, this is one of my all-time favorite bulldozer models. It's very simple, but unlike most of Ertl's models, this one is pretty well to scale. The hydraulic cylinders, you know, are fairly well to scale. The blade's pretty nice. Now that they're getting older, and especially if they're in the sunlight, that plastic will turn very pinkish, and some of the plastic kind of already is. You can kind of see it. So you got to be real careful if you have one of these. Make sure you keep it in a box or at least out of the sunlight, because the plastic will turn a real ugly pink and it won't look too good. But here you can see the cylinder and the mount. Of course, it would have been nice if they could have painted the rivet, but that certainly was not their focus back then. See all the inner workings. The blade raises up to a very nice height, unlike many Dozer models today. It's a really nice height, and it does dig down a little bit. Not, well, actually, since it's got the first gear tracks on it, not even enough to pick it up. The blade, zoom in on the blade, has some real nice small bolt head detail on it. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see. Apologize, I don't know why. They try to detail the blade fairly nicely, and they didn't do too bad of a job. The front of this model kind of surprises me, and of course that's a 6-way blade. It's a, excuse me, a simulated 6-way blade. The blade doesn't turn up and down sideways, basically, but of course that's because basically no bulldozer model does. The front grille, again, I'm going to try to do a little better with the zoom because I don't like that, is metal. Okay, sorry, I guess it's not going to get any better. The graphic is tiny. The case graphic at the top there is very tiny. It is supposed to be like a simulated mesh, but you can't really see it. You can feel it. It is metal, which is unusual. I figured the first time I got one of these that it would be plastic. The other side, again, you can even see that these logos, the decal, the case decal's kind of on like sideways. That's how it came. Again, the air cleaner, the exhaust stack, they're both plastic, but they're both very well modeled and in good scale. The rollover protection system ROPS are all plastic. There's a handrail there that's solid plastic, that it wasn't carved out. Eventually, one of these days, I'd like to have these ROPS redone and probably like machined in brass, but of course that's going to be expensive, and it's not at the top of my priority list right now. They did some nice detailing in the bolt heads. They're a little probably big, a little out of scale on the body, but it is pretty nice. Again, the undercarriage is exactly the same here as it is on the other side, just so everybody can see on this side. And quickly, I'm going to bring the D6K in and show you how high that blade comes. And we'll make sure the blades are nice and straight on each other so you can see. It's similar to the D6K, but the 650 blade actually comes up a little bit higher. So that's pretty impressive. D6K is another fantastic model, and someday I'll get around to reviewing that. I like mine a lot. I want to get another couple of them. The back, you can see the mesh that is simulated has been patterned in there in the back. That's pretty nice. The hitch is a nice feature. Like I said, the Packer wheel attachment that's in 64 scale fits in there very nicely, just like that. The screen in the back, mesh, is thick plastic, a little bit out of scale. You can kind of see what I'm talking about with the decal there. It's going over some of the ridges in the body, and it's not covering very well. And so eventually, if I do redo any part of this piece, I will certainly be doing something else with the decals. You can see they got the fuel filler neck there. I think that would be for the oil. Overall, when these first came out, they were like, I think anywhere from a $15 to a $20 item. And very, very, very well worth the $15 to $20, without a doubt. I've picked mine up fairly cheap. They don't, from a retailer now, if you find a retailer that has them, they're not very cheap at all. But still, in my opinion, worth the money, and especially worth putting the tracks on. Especially if you like case dozers. Real quick, my battery's about to run out. try to show the operator station as best as I can. There's a handrail and some gauges modeled in there. There's a handrail here. Sorry about that. And the seat is plastic. You see some of the levers there that are just solid pieces of metal coming out of the body. Try to do the other side real quick so you can see in there. Nice piece overall. I give it a very high rating. Definitely a 10 out of 10, especially for the time, early 90s when these were produced. They made a 650H and a 750H. I'm 99.9% sure they were the exact same casting. So, but if you can get your hands on one, definitely, by all means, I suggest it highly. And hope you guys have enjoyed the review. Please subscribe to the Mike's Model Reviews YouTube channel. I've changed the name of the YouTube channel from Mike's Models 2011, but right now I'm going to keep the Facebook page the same. So also, if you haven't already, like the Mike's Models 2011 Facebook page for all the latest scale model news, reviews, announcements, projects, and how-to videos. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.